Hey guys, and welcome to Harry's Movie Channel. If, like me, you're into films a lot or you watch them regularly, I'm sure you'll have at least one film which you just don't seem to like as much as most people, or you just generally have the complete opposite opinion on. And, it's cool to have different opinions on these kinds of things, We're all different. If our opinions were all the same, the world would be a really boring place. So don't go around judging people by what films they like or don't like. It doesn't mean anything, just because you like Batman and Robin, for instance, it doesn't mean you're an idiot or you're a stupid person. It's just opinion and what you like. And to prove it, I'm going to do the top five films which I don't like, but everybody else seems to love. And stay tuned for next week because then I'll be doing the top five films which I like, nobody else seems to like. So, yeah, let's get into the list. I'm just doing this to prove that, it doesn't matter what you like or don't like in terms of certain things, like films, for example. Um, you know, you can like, as I said earlier, Batman and Robin and completely dislike Star Wars, Well, that may be a surprising opinion, it it's not a good or bad thing if you don't like or like a film, because really films aren't good or bad, they're just you either like them or you don't, as I'm sure you probably know already. So yeah, without further ado, let's begin.
Number 5. Aliens.
So I've put this film low on the list because despite the title of the video, I don't actually think this film is that bad. I think it's a good enough sequel to Alien, but the reason I don't like this film as much as most people is just because I think coming off the original film, which had this great level of suspense and terror in it, I don't think this film has very much of that, which is a shame because I that was what I found so intriguing about the original Alien, and then to have it just focus more on action in the sequel, it felt a bit dull to me. I just didn't think it was as interesting. I mean, the action is really good, but I don't find it to be as good when that's the only thing the film is about, really. So I just thought it was a bit of a letdown compared to the original, but yeah, it had some great action sequences, really good characters as well. I liked them all. You want to see them survive, you know what I mean? They're not the sort of bland characters you don't care about. They're really kind of involved in the story and you want to care for them, you want to root for them, which is, you know, obviously what should be the case with a film. But when a film does it as well as that, it's really, noteworthy for me, I think. So yeah, there are lots of good things about Aliens, but I just didn't think it was as interesting as the original. I just felt it just felt I've always felt it's just a decent film. I don't see where all of the praise is coming about because on internet websites, this film is always listed as one of the greatest films ever made. Like Empire magazine voted it the best sequel ever made, and I wouldn't say that about this film. I think it's just good, not definitely not one of the best films ever made. Good, but I think the public exaggerates about it way too far.
Number 4. Thunderball.
Right, so now we're getting into the films which I don't like. Now, as I said in my Blu-ray collection video, James Bond is my favorite film franchise. And there are so many films in the series that I really enjoy. Goldfinger, The Spy Who Loved Me, Casino Royale, GoldenEye, Skyfall. I could go on and on. But out of all of the films in the series, the one film which I've never understood why it gets so much love is Thunderball. The reason I just don't like this film is I think it's flat out boring. Like all the underwater sequences, while they look impressive, especially by 1960s standards, they're just so slow. It literally feels like somebody had a 35mm print of the film or something, and they played it and slowed it down to like half speed or something. It's just so boring. And also the story about stealing atomic bombs is just generally not very interesting in my opinion. Um, I will give it. There are things I do like about this film, though. I love Sean Connery as Bond. He's not my favorite, but I think he's really good. I like Fiona Volpe, who's the female villain. She's really, really good in. She's a really good character, I think. But yeah, didn't like the villain. Didn't like the story or most of the action. It was just boring, and the runtime was a bit messed up as well. So yeah, for those reasons, I just don't like this film.
Number 3, Chicago.
I feel this is just one of those films where people go mental over it when they hear about it. They're like, best musical of the 21st century. No. I mean, even The Greatest Showman, which I hate, I thought that was better than this abomination. So I, again, similarly with Thunderball, this film is just boring, in my opinion. I thought that all the visuals and the set pieces, I think that's what a lot of people praised, but to me, it's just like, you know, they're there. Maybe they look good, but then again, most musicals have good set pieces, so what makes this one so special? Um, there's one scene where I don't remember it very well, but the guy, I think he was cheating on the girl or something, and she shoots him. Like, she's like, ah! I just didn't really get that. The story was just very forgettable. I don't even remember what the film was about. Um, just generally a forgettable, bland film, in my opinion. And I don't really understand why people love this film so much. And if you like it, that's great. I completely respect you for that, but I just don't understand how. I just don't get anything out of this film. I don't enjoy it in any way. I just don't think it's very. I just don't think it's a very unique film like most people might say. I just think it's generally just another film, really, and not a very good one. I don't think it was very enjoyable or interesting. The story, it was just like all the songs as well. I just don't really like, particularly that song "All That Jazz" or whatever at the start. Yeah, it was just your typical musical song. Didn't really interest me. In fact, musicals in general aren't really my favorite genre. So I'm not. It's not a big surprise that I don't like this film because most musicals, I think, it just the characters sing. It's not all that interesting, I don't think. So yeah. For those reasons, I just don't like this film at all.
Number 2, Inside Out.
Now, despite what I said about Chicago and Thunderball, I prefer this film over both of those. But the reason it comes ahead is because the gap, generally, my opinion versus the general consensus. So yeah, I felt this film is. I think the story and the whole idea surrounding, um, you know, our emotions are like little people in our head. I thought that was really clever. Like that was the one big thing I think this film had going for it. But outside of that, I just thought it was a bit boring. All the characters, like Joy, and so I just felt they were extremely annoying. Like Joy was just like, "Oh, look at this! This is all brilliant," and Sam was like, "Oh, I'm so bad." And while they are the moods that they are, if you know what I mean, come on, make them a bit more likable than this, really. I thought Riley, what the story centers around, she was just like, I didn't really care for her life all that much. I mean, she's into hockey, yay! Don't give a damn. Quite frankly, I feel that the main reason people like this film is just because they generally have a love for Pixar and the general idea, which is great. I like Pixar films, Toy Story, Cars. They're some of my favorite animated films of all time, probably because of nostalgia, but I generally love all of the Toy Story and all of the Cars films. The Incredibles, Monsters Inc. There's so many memorable films which I remember from my early childhood, which even now I still like because they've stuck with me for all these years. But Inside Out, it's just like, it's a generally not very interesting, like to me at least, not very exciting. I didn't really. I felt it was maybe I was just too old for it when I saw it the first time because I think I was about 10 or 11 when I saw it the first time, and maybe I was, I guess, a bit too old for what the film is generally about, because it's about like the senses and things. That's not really what a 10 or 11-year-old would be into, I guess. So maybe it was just to do with that, but yeah, generally not all that interesting for me. And I don't hate it, it's just a little bit, ugh, it's a bit of a blah film, I think.
And the number one film that I hate but everyone else seems to like is Slumdog Millionaire.
I just cannot comprehend what it is about this film that so many people just love, because I've only seen it once. I probably won't go back to it because I literally hate this film. But I think I just can't I don't understand the story, and I don't care about the story as a result. I think it's about Dev Patel and some other woman, I can't remember her name. Like they get in a relationship, and then Dev Patel, his character, whatever his name is, he goes on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Now, those quiz sequences at the last part of the film, they were pretty good. I enjoyed those, but everything else before them was just such a drag for me, and I just hate this film. Um, I don't really like to talk too much about films I don't really like, so I'll try and keep it. I don't want to moan for too long, but mainly the story, the characters were not interesting. Every single scene, apart from the stuff at the end, I thought was boring. Just if I had to sum this film up, it has a good end. It has a good kind of final act with the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire stuff, but there's a lot to sit through to get to those good sequences. So yeah, I'll admit that it's a well written film. It's not like that. There isn't bad dialogue or bad chemistry between the two leads, but I just get nothing out of this film. I don't get any entertainment from it, which is pretty bad considering that's what a film is supposed to do. So yeah, I just got absolutely nothing out of it, and that's the reason why easily it comes at number one on this list. So those were the top five films which I don't like, but a lot of other people seem to enjoy. So yeah, if you like these films, great, feel free to get as much enjoyment out of them as you can. But to me, well, Aliens was sort of good, but to me, I just don't get as much entertainment out of them as anyone else. Again, also maybe you don't like them either, which, again, great. Doesn't say anything about you. Continue. I guess it just proves that we have something in common. And tune in for next week, because then I'm going to switch things around a bit and do the top five films which I like and nobody else seems to like. So yeah, they're gonna make it even, I guess, because I think that's fairer. So yeah, stay tuned for that. And other than that, I will see you guys next time. Bye for now.